Hello class, today we're going to be talking about solving square roots. I know how a lot of you think, and no, this is not the kind of square roots I'm talking about with the tree roots in a square like this. We're actually talking about a mathematical concept. Okay, we've already kind of talked about some of these problems in the previous day's lessons, but let's do a quick review. If we have the square root of 9, that is going to equal 3. And how we got 3 is because 3 times 3 equals 9. Another way you could say that is 3 squared equals 9. So let's look at the square root of 25. The square root of 25, we think, what number times itself equals 25? So we know that number is 5. Because 5 times 5 or 5 squared equals 25. These are called perfect squares because there's a whole number that you can find the square root of it. So like the square root of 9 is 3. That's a perfect square. If you had the square root of 8, that is not a perfect square because there isn't a whole number that can multiply by itself to get 8. Okay, now knowing what we just learned, let's solve for x. If we're trying to solve for x and we have x squared, we have to do the opposite of squaring the x, which would be taking the square root of x. What we do to one side, we have to do the other. So we take the square root of 9, the square root and the x and the squared sign cancel each other out. So we end up with x equals the square root of 9, which we now know is 3. Whenever you take the square root of a number, you have to write plus or minus 3. You have to write plus or minus because when you think about it, x could be positive 3 because positive 3 times positive 3 would give you 9, but x could also be negative 3 because negative 3 times negative 3 would give you 9. So down here the same thing, take the square root of x squared to cancel that out. What you do to one side you have to do the other. Take the square root of 16. So on the left side we're left with x, and on the right side we're looking for the square root of 16. So what number times itself gives you 16? The answer to that is 4. 4 times 4 gives you 16. So plus 4, but also negative 4 times negative 4 equals 16. So the correct answer is plus or minus 4. Okay, here's a problem for you to try. Pause your video now and solve for x. X squared equals 36. Okay, whenever you solve for x, you should have taken the square root of x to cancel the x squared. Then what you do to one side, you have to do the other. Take the square root of 36. So you'd end up with x equals, you know it's going to be plus or minus because you took the square root of it, and then the square root of 36 is 6. 6 times 6 equals 36. Okay, here's a couple practice problems for you to do for homework. Solve for x in both these problems. X squared equals 49 and x squared equals 4. Have a great day.